Hi guys and welcome back. Inktober is officially over. I would love to hear from you guys. How did your projects go? Were you able to meet some of your goals? I was able to meet some of mine, and some of them I felt like I was doing really strong at the beginning and didn't do as well towards the end. I think that's usually how it can often go, but I'm definitely going to be talking about all that and everything. I'm excited to talk about kind of the wrap up of Inktober. Uh, I still have a few more pieces to do since I had sketched and planned out more illustrations and pages that were going into Nocturne than there were actual days of Inktober. So I still have a few that I'm working through, getting them done and everything. But yeah, if you'd like to join the Kickstarter or check that out for Nocturne, which is going to be hardcover, an Inktober book from all of my Inktober's this month, then I will have a link right at the top of the description down below that'll take you over there. We're actually getting pretty close to the first stretch goal, which I'm really excited about. And I think probably one of my favorite things about Inktober, and this is going to sound kind of funny, is actually just when it ends. I mean, of course, there's the relief of finishing a whole project, or at least getting to the end of that big project and completing that challenge. But also, I find that it's so helpful for me to break out of the monotony of day-to-day art making, where before Inktober, it's really easy for me to fall into this like daily grind kind of where I forget about these big dreams and goals that I have for myself and for my artwork, big projects that I want to work on, things that take a lot longer than just a single piece to create or just a single day or a couple of weeks. It's the big picture stuff that I find really exciting, but it's so easy to just grind that out and get really focused on the short-term goals that I have. So when it comes time to Inktober, where it forces me to work on this one big project and all of these other things that I normally love working with, like watercolors or colors in general, those all are pushed aside and I have to forget about them for a little while. I find that when I'm really churning out all of these Inktobers and hyper focusing on these very specific things, it allows me to kind of dream and think about the new things that I want to do. What are the big projects? What would I want to do next year for my Inktober? What would I want to do for a big project that isn't necessarily Inktober? And then when Inktober ends and I reach that point where it's opening up the gates basically, I get to actually make that happen. And I think that's kind of the hard thing too, is that it feels really exciting and invigorating. I just come off of Inktober and I have all these really exciting goals, and then it's so easy just to fall back into that same routine where you kind of forget those big dreams and goals. So moving on from Inktober this year, I really want to make sure that I just make an effort to make those dreams that I have and those big picture projects that I have a reality. I need to start planning them out and putting them on paper and making those long-term check marks that I need to make sure I can actually achieve. That's definitely something I've always felt about art challenges, is that they are these perfect tools for reaching your goals or figuring them out and working on them. You can pretty much make almost any art goal into something that will help you reach your own goals. I love being able to go into Inktober's and have a list of challenges that I specifically want to work on, goals that I want to meet. I just feel so excited and ready to move on to the next artistic chapter in my life after this. I've been giving it a lot of thought during this Inktober, and I think this is going to be my last big Inktober like this. I think I'll probably enjoy doing a couple days here and there, but this is definitely going to be the last time that I do daily illustrations that are full illustrations and that are going to be in a book. I want to do a big project next year that's going to take a lot longer than a month to put together, and I want it to be just completely free to be whatever I want it to be. I have a few ideas. I definitely don't have anything concrete enough to share, but I will be talking about it more and letting you guys in on the process as I'm working on it. But yeah, it feels really good to be able to move on after this Inktober and have these plans and ideas for my next big project that's basically going to replace it, only in a much bigger, grander way. And I feel really glad too that it was that it was this Inktober that I feel ready to move on from, because I feel really proud of the pieces that I did during the Inktober. I feel happy about where Nocturne, the book as a whole, is going to be, what it's going to look like. I feel like it's a good send-off for my Inktober book series to be able to end on this note that I feel like is a high note for the books. So I guess moving forward for me for this new project that I want to work on, I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of list making. I love doing lists for projects because it really allows me to think it through and think of all the possibilities. And that's just such an exciting feeling to be able to know so many different options and to be able to be far enough in advance that I can really start tailoring it down and spend as much time as I need to make it right. I definitely learned that lesson with my Inktober projects. Those were such incredible learning experiences, especially for being able to plan out projects. I found that in years past, I have not been nearly as planned or thought out for my projects, so then they ended up being a lot more work and a lot more stress. But this year, I had things planned out months in advance. I had things sketched out and thumbnailed and prepared, and I had lists of words of specific feelings that I wanted in specific parts of the book. So going into it, I just felt like I had so much already figured out that it was just time to make artwork, and that was really fun and exciting, and it was really refreshing compared to years past. So taking that lesson that I learned, I'm definitely going to go into this new project really planning very far ahead because like I said, I want it to be something that I can spend a lot of time on and make it as close to what I would consider perfect as possible in the time frame that makes sense. So being able to just jump right in and start making lists of types of projects, of timelines, of themes, of types of art that I actually want in it, of just endless things, really. It will allow me to really pinpoint exactly what the face of this new project is going to be and how I want to actually create it and make it happen. And once I really start figuring that out, then I can give myself actual deadlines and have a calendar for that and figure out when each step needs to be accomplished. That way I hopefully won't fall into that same trap that I talked about at the beginning where I forget about my big goals and I just start working on those day-to-day or weekly things that I have to get done, and that's all I can see, that's all I can focus on. And hopefully if I'm really planned out and prepared, I'll be able to stick to those bigger projects that have timelines that are months rather than days. So yeah, I'm really excited and hopeful about taking those things that I've learned from Inktober and applying it to something bigger. But let's talk a little bit about this piece for the last little bit. A lot of it is very similar to all of my other Inktober's that I've done throughout this whole project. So I feel like a lot of it's pretty repetitive, but I did try to really focus on some of the things that I learned from other pieces and apply it to this one. Like, I think in the last video I talked about how I realized I was being really sloppy with the lighter values as I was applying it, so I tried to be much more thoughtful and careful with applying it on this piece. I also realized that I wanted to really create more dimension in the lighter shapes themselves rather than just the shadows, but also, well, largely the shadows, but there's some sections of, say, her hair that would be behind the characters. I would in some cases leave that as the same value base as the ones that are closer, but I actually realized that I want to make sure that those sections are receding and that there's more dimension to the painting itself. So those sections of hair I actually put over a very light glaze, I guess you'd call it glaze, of the ink wash over top of it, so it's a little bit darker, it recedes more, it has more dimension to it, and I'm so much happier with that. I wish I'd made sure that I paid attention to that kind of thing rather than my automatic thought of everything needs to be white if it's a white object like her hair. I also made sure that I gave a little bit of almost a vignetting effect to where as the hair got closer to the outside or the edge of the piece, I would help it get a little bit darker that way. it would just get lighter and lighter as it got closer towards the center of the painting. But that is it for today, and that's it for Inktober. Again, I do have the link to my Kickstarter for Nocturne, so if you'd like to check that out and potentially pledge, there is a link at the very top of the description down below. I will also be working on getting all of the other videos that I had recorded during the month up on Patreon. I got a little bit behind, but there will still be Inktober videos that will be posted over there, so if you want to get more content, that is a great place. There's also a link for my Patreon down in the description as well, and I do really want to give a huge thank you to all of my patrons over on Patreon. You guys are incredible. You helped me get through this very exhausting month, and you help me get through every month, so thank you guys so much. But that is it for today. I'll be back next week with another art video, so I'll see you guys then.